Welcome to Psychonaut Sessions, your home for all things psycho. This is Daniel Muller. Today I want to talk about Barry Windsor-Smith's Storyteller. So I found this book at a local shop my son took me to called Retro Zone, and there was actually many other issues there, so I'm going to pick up the rest there as well. But Barry Windsor-Smith is a legend in the industry. He's one of my personal favorites. Got to start really doing, and really got noticed doing the Conan comic for Marvel Comics. Then later started doing other books for Marvel and is most well known for his Weapon X run in the Marvel Comics Presents title, which was the first time that there was any indication of an origin for Wolverine. It is a very famous run of books. He both wrote it and drew it. And there's actually a book coming out very soon called Weapon X, which is a fan-based project which honors that run, and I actually have a couple of pages in that book, so very excited about that. He also did a great run on X-Men and did a lot of work for in the 90s for Valiant Comics, and a lot of great books there. I think Archer and Armstrong, I believe he did some work for Solar, Man of the Atom, and then he did some work for Ultraverse in a book called Rune, and soon after that, I think it's 95, 94, 95 is when Dark Horse offered him to do this creator-owned book. It's an anthology magazine, so I had to pull my camera back quite a bit for this particular item just to give you an idea of the size. This is normal comic book size, and this is magazine size, so very big book, but gorgeous, beautiful. Just wanted to go through this a little bit. Not a whole lot to say about the work in this other than just some of the most gorgeous work I've ever seen. I just recently picked up Barry Windsor-Smith's book Monsters from Fantagraphics, which is amazing. It's a book 30 years in the making. Incredible hardcover. But I love the color in this one. Monsters is black and white. Great ink work. I have not looked at this storyteller's work before, and it blew me away. Absolutely mind-boggling. So it contains 3 different stories. First is Freebooters, which is about a barbarian who's kind of like Conan, but now he's kind of fat and older and runs a tavern, and lighthearted, kind of fun story. Next is Paradox Man, which is weird sci-fi, and the other is Young Gods, which is an homage to Jack Kirby's New God stuff from DC. So right from the get-go, there's a letter from Mike Richardson, the editor, or from the publisher. Not a whole lot to say, just praising Barry Windsor-Smith. But from the get-go, we get this gorgeous splash page of a character getting ready to enter a fantastical city. We've got some floating airships. The artwork is just gorgeous. Of note is Barry Windsor-Smith did not color. He did receive some assists from Alex Bailey, I believe, on this particular item, and got coloring assists from other people in other parts of the work. I believe he did help out with some of the coloring on this particular one. And then we get a double splash page when the boy finally enters the city. My camera is not able to handle it. This is like a pulsing disco. This is crazy. So I don't know what's going on here. There's plenty of lighting in the room, but it can't handle the book. Interesting when I turn the page. So really, if I can just take a moment to show some of the detail of this amazing spread. Not a whole lot of story in these segments, and that's okay, because really what this is about is Barry Windsor-Smith showing off his hand, showing off his craft. This boy is trying to find the famous barbarian. His name is, oh boy, can't remember what his name is. Axis. Axus. Axus. So trying to search for him. In the meantime, Axis is somewhere else in the city, trying to cause some trouble and gets into a fight. Look at all these palm trees. This is gorgeous. This is Axis here. So again, the coloring is just as dynamic as the artwork itself. There's so much flow. You could really tell Barry Windsor-Smith just poured his all into this. Before, we got a lot in many of the other books that have existed that he worked on before, from Valiant or from Marvel. It was quite the assembly line process, right? He mainly just did penciling. There are a few works like Weapon X where he got to come out of his shell a little bit more, but this, I feel like he's just unleashing. He's just pouring everything about who he is into this. His personality is all over it. So this boy is searching the city while Axis is getting into a fight with like a city guard or some such. And it's very apparent that Axis is a revered hero. So this boy came to the city looking for Axis because he needs him for a task, for a quest. And there are many people in the city that are kind of taking the moniker of Axis the Great. So the boy is having to go to all of these fakers that are just trying to capitalize off Axis's name. So back to the fight, Axis defeats the fellow that he's fighting with, and basically sits on his face and farts on him, and it's hilarious. There's shows regarding Axis in the market going on, and the boys finally gets from a city guard, finally gets some directions to the real Axis. So he heads there. Axis is hanging out in his tavern that he owns. The boy heads into the tavern. Axis gets into another fight because, I mean, if this guy is a washed up type of Conan character, then, of course. And the boy enters while Axis is in the middle of the fight and the whole place being trashed. And this is another amazing. My camera cannot handle these Barry Windsor-Smith full page spreads. So interesting. It's a lot of information. A lot of information. I've taken a lot, and because it's such a big book, I've spent many a minute staring these down. So that's the first one, Freebooters. Paradox Man. I don't know what to say. This is amazing. Beautiful. We have a fellow here riding some sort of weird rainbow cycle thing. And I believe what's happening is that he's jumping through the time stream. So some wonderful splash pages. I wonder how crazy my camera's going to get on this one. Gorgeous double page spread. Colors on this one is by Tom Vincent. Just nothing really to say. It's amazing. So we have a couple of pages of this character spiraling through this weird time warp, dimensional warp thing. He's trying to get control of this time cycle, I believe. It spins out of it into some sort of time period. It turns off. He crash lands. He's in some sort of jungle tropical paradise, maybe? No, it really turns out that I think he's in the past. So some dinosaurs there. I mean, who doesn't want Barry Windsor-Smith doing dinosaurs? Really cool stuff. And then he stumbles upon a spaceship. Encounters some aliens, and they basically zap him, and he gets knocked out, and that's the end of that particular story. And again, there's not a lot of substance plot-wise to these so far. I mean, this is, I believe he did 7, 8 issues of this. So they carry over, but it's really just this pure eye candy. And then Young Gods. This is an homage, and actually is dedicated in the memory of Jack Kirby, to his New God saga, and also like a hint of his work on Thor, Marvel Comics. But just a character called Heroes, and a buddy of his watching some stars collide. Heroes is a part of an arranged marriage with this celestial group of pantheon here. And he's kind of down. He thinks because he's going to get married, he's not going to have his adventuring days anymore. His buddy's trying to help pick him up, and hey, let's go have some drinks at the local tavern. A lot of drinking and tavern stuff here. And the gal he's going to get married to, her sister just isn't with this. So this is Ad Astra. And so she actually is a character of Barry Windsor-Smith that she ended up having her own series, and I think you can get that at Fantagraphics. And her story is actually based upon a story Barry Windsor-Smith wanted to do for the X-Men character Storm, but it was rejected. So you can check that out at Fantagraphics. But basically, this girl's getting ready to get married to Heroes. Ad Astra is just like, I ain't having this, and she takes off. She wants to go have a drink, and she basically runs in to the man that her sister's going to marry, but doesn't really know it. And they all three of them go off, as in Ad Astra, the man who's going to marry her sister, and his buddy. They go off to go have a night of drinking and adventure. So I think we can kind of anticipate what's gonna happen there. So looking forward to getting the rest. Most definitely just a quick little preview of what's to come in the next issue, and that's really it. That's Barry Windsor-Smith's Storyteller. Beautiful, beautiful work. So check it out if you can. Thank you very much for watching. This is Daniel. You can check me out at all the information you'll see at the end of this video, and keep it psycho, folks.